Hey there, 10VQ. I'm a fellow 10VQ, by the way, talking to a 10VQ. And 10VQ is a compound Venus. And there's only two compound Venuses, actually, the 10VQs and the 11VQs. And what's compound mean? Well, it means you have two numbers in the beginning of your Venus quotient. And two numbers literally means that you're pulling off three things before you even enter in the business of love. The 10VQs are value manifestors. They bring incredible value to any situation. 10. So you multiply any person you're in love with by 10. And it really works that way. We'll talk about that in another video. But you're a multiplier of 10, and so it's extremely important that 10VQs are extremely picky about what they connect to, because you will multiply anything. You'll multiply bad things for you, good things for you, abundantly, abundant. They say that the 10VQs are material. It's just that they're very naturally abundant. They add 10 to everything. So the secret to the 10VQ is to break down the 10. And actually, for you, you can watch the 1VQ and you can watch the 0VQ to understand the 1 and the 0 by themselves in the 10 equation. Okay? And you really should. You should watch all the videos. It'll help you understand the essence of you. But basically, a 10 is a compound in the sense of you are a 1 and a 0 put together, which is love and trust put together. That's what the 10VQ is. But you must love and trust yourself first and always. Otherwise, if your 10 doesn't have integrity, I guess, then you will lose yourself in the love. Why do you lose yourself in love? Because there's a 0 there. That's why. I know. I'm a 10VQ talking to a 10VQ here. I know what happens. So the maturity mark of a 10VQ is whether or not the 10VQ is taking care of themselves, and whether or not the 10VQ is loving themselves, the 1, or protecting themselves, the 0, to love and to protect. And you have to be in the full integrity of loving and protecting yourself before you get in the business of love business at all, because that is how it works for the 10VQs. Now, the 10VQs, once they do love, bring so much 10 to the equation that anything is truly possible when a 10VQ loves you. When a 10VQ loves someone, they bring a tremendous opportunity to the table. Now, what do 10VQs chase after? It really kind of depends on the 10VQ, to be honest, because what that 0 is you holding space for the love. And I think a 10VQ always holds space for the love. I think it's a true romantic position of Venus. And so it's always got that 0. It's always waiting for that 1 to come, that 1 to fill that 0. So there's a very romantic notion. But that 0 is also the need to protect yourself. And so a lot of times what happens is the 0 gets misplaced and the 10VQs end up trying to protect others. So the 10VQs become big protectors and they 0 out. They give their 0s away. They put their 0 around other people, not around themselves. Therefore, your love, 1, is out of integrity. The 0's not working for you. And as a result, the 10VQs tend to chase after unstable souls that are broken down or incomplete or missing a mommy or missing a daddy. It doesn't matter what the gender is. And that's because that 0 is out there protecting others instead of protecting yourself. So that's the maturity mark, and that's the chase after. Once the 10VQ loves and trusts themselves first, and what they sense first, all those things, then they draw in and chase after usually whatever feels best to them. So a lot of times this is 5s, this is 6s, kind of depends. We can talk about that in another video. The focus of a 10VQ is to make bigger and better. 10VQs always want to build a love together. They want to build a story together, build. 10VQ wants to take that 10, make it 100, make it 1,000, make it 1,000,000, and just keep multiplying in babies and grandbabies and lots of pies and lots of holidays. So the 10VQ is very abundant, and the focus is usually on more and more and creation. The emotional personality of a 10VQ is extremely delicate. That's because what you have is the love behind a little glass shield, the 0. And since you have love behind a little shield, the 10VQs come off as kind of like very beautiful fireflies. In that sense, they're very bright, and they're very airy, and they're very fairy, and they're very light. They often have very light body frames and keep a skinny body frame because they're basically a 1 and a 0 behind a 0 glass. So their personality is sweet, sensitive, loving, very giving, very feminine, I would say, mostly the emotional personality of a 10VQ. talking to myself here. And they're natural-born artists, natural-born manifestors, and the 10 VQs are also very natural mothers of Earth or Papa Bears of Earth, depending on how you look at that. When it comes to defensiveness, it kind of depends on the maturity of the 10 VQ. If the 10 VQ is mature and past the maturity mark, where they're loving and trusting themselves, then I would say that the nature of the 10 VQ is not defensive to the outer world, because you're spending so much time defending the inner world correctly. So when the 0 is not chasing others and it's protecting your love, then you're not overly defensive. But when you are not protecting yourself, then there's usually a huge ego defensive issue with the 10 VQs. They're willing to destroy as much as they're willing to create. It can get really dark, I know, when you're not protecting yourself. So that's the key with defensiveness. The likeliness to commit to a 10 VQ is extremely likely. You can say 10 out of 10 chances they're going to want to commit. That 0 wants to rope around someone else and will technically, but basically the commit level is a little too high, I'd say. Again, the 0 needs to wrap around the 1, and that makes a 10 strong. The 10 VQs need to commit to themselves first, but they are highly likely to commit, extremely likely to commit. In bed, sexually, the 10 VQs are extremely passionate and adventurous, is how I describe them. They are looking to grow. They're looking to learn. Basically, I think a 10 VQ is willing to try. That's really the only place I'd say a 10 VQ is willing to disassemble the 10. To break it down into different numbers and variables and get naked and that sort of thing, is in the sexual bedroom. Otherwise, that 10 is so busy trying to be a stable 10 and hold that foundation of 10 for the world and that foundation of 10 for love, that it's only in bed that the 10 VQs will get undressed and get crazy. So in bed, they're extremely adventurous. They're very fiery. They do extremely well sexually with any, like with the 9s, the VQ 9s, they do very well with the VQ 3 VQs also, the 3s. So they're good that way. So basically what a 10 adds to a lover is 10, a multiplier. And the secret to a VQ 10 is they always leave their partners better, no matter what, or the 10 VQs, they always leave their partners better. And they always leave their partners richer, spiritually, materially, every way. So that's one of the secrets of them. Now, if you have a 10 in the next numeral, which is, how do you say that, Chris? How can you possibly have a 10 in the second? Well, basically it has to do with when things add up. So if you have 19, in your master number, then what that adds up to is a 10. So basically, that is a secret place of a manifestation. 19 is really a 10. And so what that means is that when you have a 10 there, you have to do all the 19 work, which is to love, trust, act on yourself, and then love and trust yourself again, love and trust on top of who you already are, and that is the building block of manifestation, right? The 19 equals the 10. Now, in the case of the other 28, that's the other way you can have a 10. And if you were a 28 degree, you end up with a 10. Again, it's a similar condition of manifestation where it's 4 blocks that add to the manifestation. You have to feel it. You feel it. You decide it. You decide and feel that. That becomes a commitment, which is the benchmark. You step up, you love, and you trust the next thing. And then, boom, you manifest. So this might sound a little complicated, but basically, those are the 2 ways that you could have 10 on the other side of the equation, right? And of course, you can have literally a 10 degree at the 10th degree. In that case, you are also learning a simple 10 manifestation of loving, trusting, loving, trusting. So, in essence, the VQ10s, what is it? It's all loving and trusting yourself. That's the essence of it. And the loving yourself, which I haven't talked much about, you got to look at the 1 VQ story, is a big part, I think, of the 10 VQs. And I think 10 VQs are born usually loving themselves really well. I just don't think they protect themselves, and so they end up breaking down and they end up lassoing themselves around others. So for those who join GA Venus and I watch over, the 10 VQs, the first thing we really focus on is the self-love and the protect. And we work a lot on the protect, looking at where you are protecting. Are you protecting what you're manifesting? Are you protecting yourself? Are you protecting your heart's interest? These are the areas that I get really deep on for the 10 VQs in GA Venus. All right, that's all I have. Thanks for clicking.
So